Salt Lake. We're not talking about Utah. We're talking about Salt Lake out here in Honolulu, Hawaii. It's one of the best kept secrets when it comes to being close to town, being close to Pearl Harbor, and pretty much anywhere you need to be, and having a good price when it comes to that condo. We're gonna cover everything you need to know about Salt Lake out here in Hawaii, so stick around to get all the details. See you on the other side. All right, guys, like I mentioned in this video, we're gonna cover a nice little secret, a place called Salt Lake. And we're not talking about Utah, we're talking about Honolulu, Hawaii. Now, Salt Lake is a great option for a lot of people, especially my service members who want to be close to Pearl Harbor. They don't wanna have to battle that traffic from Ewa Beach, or if you're even at Schofield, it's a pretty easy drive that way as well. So we're gonna go over all that stuff, but before we do, let me quickly introduce myself if this is your first time here. My name is Patrick Lawley. I'm a licensed real estate agent out here in Hawaii and have been helping buyers, sellers, investors, and military service members like yourselves with their real estate needs. Now, if you have any questions or simply want to talk story, I've got my contact information right here, or you can directly DM me on my social media platforms. Now, with that being said, let's jump into this great affordable area that can be close to your station, close to Honolulu, a little place called Salt Lake. Now, Salt Lake is a very attractive area specifically for the price. Now, the price of a condo out here compared to the rest of the market, you can see in this chart right here, a condo in Salt Lake, we're gonna be looking at 2 bedrooms as the staple, is about 439 grand, which is extremely affordable when you compare it to, let's say, the rest of the island is an average of $550,000. Or if you're looking to buy in Waikiki, a 2 bedroom, the median sales price is $670,000. So that's a huge difference. So if you need the space, but don't have a ton of cash to pay almost $700,000 for a 2 bedroom condo, Salt Lake might be a great option for you. Now let's go over the pros and cons of Salt Lake. So some of the pros, one of the biggest pros is the commute, depending on where you have to go, but generally everybody's either going to Honolulu, which is only a 14 to 26 minute drive, and that's at the peak of traffic. If you're stationed at Pearl Harbor or you work on Pearl Harbor, you're looking at a 9 to 14 minute drive. And if you have to go to Schofield, you're only 24 to 30 minutes to Schofield. Versus Ewa, which I'm a big fan of Ewa and Kapolei, but if you are living in Ewa or Kapolei, you're looking at a 35 to 1 hour drive to Honolulu, a 22 to 45 minute drive to Pearl Harbor, or a 25 to 50 minute drive to Schofield. Now, another big benefit is you're close to Fort Shafter, only like a 10-minute drive. Super close to the Navy Exchange, only a 10-minute drive. If you want to get those tax-free goods, that's a great option for you. And if you're working or need to go to Tripoli, you're only 10 to 15 minutes. Now, Salt Lake is, as you can see on this map, it's kind of right in the middle of a couple different main highways, but you'll see that's really right in the middle there. So you're kind of tucked away, but you have really easy access to the freeway. So having that easy access to the freeway is very beneficial. You also have a slew of different options when it comes to condos. And there's actually a grocery store that's really close by. I think it's a Safeway and a strip mall that's there with a bunch of different food options. So it's actually a great option for you if you need a couple simple amenities, close access to the freeway. Some of these condos actually have some killer views of Pearl Harbor if you get up on some of those higher floors. So it is a great option, especially if you're working on a budget, but you need the square footage. And you want to be close to work or to Honolulu without living in Honolulu and paying Honolulu Waikiki prices. Now, another pro is sidewalks. There's a ton of sidewalks in Salt Lake. So if you like walking around, or if your kids want to walk to school, generally there's plenty of sidewalks for you to walk around. You're not on streets that have no sidewalks and you're having to battle cars hitting you. So that's also a huge benefit. Now let's go over some of the cons. First con is that there's no real ocean that's too close to you. You basically have Pearl Harbor and you have the airport. There's no real beach. You gotta drive. So compared to living in Waikiki, where you have Waikiki Beach, you're just gonna have to drive, but again, the commute's not too bad. Second con is some of the buildings, depending on which building you go with, are a little bit older. Now there are some good newer buildings in comparison to what's new in Hawaii, but they tend to be a lot newer than some of the things we see in Waikiki, 70s, 80s, and some of these tend to have a lot of the same issues that we're seeing in Waikiki, because a lot of those were built in the 70s and 80s. So there might have issues with spalling, with plumbing, so it's always good, of course, check with the realtor, check the condo documents, see if there's any issues with reserves, special assessments, large increases in HOAs, all of those things. But we tend to see in Salt Lake, they're a little bit newer than some of those condos in Waikiki that tend to have a lot of problems. So that pretty much wraps it up. That's just a quick breakdown of Salt Lake, its location, what the drive times are, price points, pros and cons, and everything that you need to know in a nutshell. Now there's plenty more that we could talk about Salt Lake, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I got my contact information right here, or you can directly DM me on any of my social media platforms. With that being said, I'm Patrick with PatrickOnlineRealty.com, powered by eXp Realty. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Aloha.